I can't concentrate. My mum's just walked in. You need to stand outside because it's thrown me. You need to go.
And I do look back and think, if I'd have stayed in that relationship, would I be sat here today doing as well as I am? All of a sudden I was getting job, and these figures were just going up. But having one Birkin and a rented flat in London, if I was a prostitute, I'd have a lot more.
Welcome to Business as Usual, the podcast that goes beyond the titles and into the people behind the careers. I'm your host, Claudia Bish, and each week I'll be diving into real conversations that go beyond the job title. Expect honest stories, a few business gems along the way, and a reminder that behind every highlight reel there's a whole lot more story. Now, let's get down to business. When I first started this podcast, I said I didn't want to limit myself to just bringing on people we manage. And that's not because they're not absolutely amazing, but because I really wanted a portfolio of guests from different industries and job roles. But my next guest obviously made total sense to have on because she hit something we haven't covered yet, the marketing agency space.
Hi, I'm Isobel Lorna, and this is Business as Usual.
We obviously manage you in-house, so I know your journey very well.
Probably better than anyone else.
Yeah, so... But for anyone that is listening, talk to me. Everyone knows you as the corporate girl from TikTok, I guess, initially. Bring me on that journey of you. I suppose we can go through it quite quick because you've touched on it everywhere. Discovering social media, that kind of initial decision, because you jumped on, which I think is probably contributed to where you're at now, you jumped on TikTok in its infancy. So that obviously allowed you to grow fairly rapid.
So when I left school, I decided to go and do an apprenticeship in a law firm instead of going to university. And I think it was there that I discovered my love for social media and filming specifically. Social media wasn't really as big back then. So I was basically an assistant in the marketing department in a law firm, which is quite boring. But because I was in this big, glamorous office, which was actually in Bristol, everyone thinks it's London, but I'm from Bristol. I loved walking in there and I just felt so glam, and where I've actually skipped like 10 steps phases.
No, but I feel like a lot of people know about this journey anyway.
The whole thing, yeah. The marketing department asked me if I could make a video to promote National Apprenticeship Week. And I was like, surely the best way I can show other people what an apprenticeship is like would be by doing a day in the life video, which didn't really exist back then. And I was making this for the Burgess Salmon YouTube. I don't know if it's still on YouTube, it might still be. So I basically stuck GoPros to everyone's heads and like reenacted a day in the life video, cut all the clips together on like iMovie on my old laptop or something. And I just really loved making that day in the life video. And then COVID hit, TikTok was blowing up, and I was actually working at the Amazon warehouse at the time doing night shifts because I wanted to earn more money. And I was like, well, instead of sitting at home, I may as well go and do a night shift, which was stupid because I was going to work Monday to Friday, and then on Friday night I would drive like an hour to the warehouse, do a night shift, sleep all day Saturday, do another night shift on Saturday, sleep all day Sunday, go back to work on Monday. So it was like clockwork working all week. But I was earning like $3,000 a month on top of my salary, which was a lot for me at the time. I was like 19, 20 years old or something. And then I just had a brainwave one day in the like break room with my high vis on, and like I used to make these oats and I was eating them, and I was like, hold on, why don't I make that video but put it on TikTok and then make this kind of TikTok channel to try and help other girls do an apprenticeship and trying to spread a bit of awareness that you don't have to go to university to have a career, because I didn't go and I felt like I was still going to have a successful career. I basically just posted a day in the life video on TikTok. I think it's still my first video on there, I'll have to find it. And people just loved it and they wanted more and more, so I kept making these videos. I made these quick videos of all these like 1-second clips of like a corporate girly life with this like upbeat like sassy music, and everyone just loved it. They're still like some of my most viewed and liked videos now. And then as time went on, people would start saying, how do you do your hair? Can we see more of your work outfits? How do you do your makeup for work? And that's how I naturally developed into an influencer. But then it got to a point where I think the first ever campaign I was probably booked for was Elizabeth Arden, and it was like a $7,000 job or something for a TikTok. And I remember I filmed it in the bathroom at work, and I was like, something about this doesn't feel right. Like,
so what was your salary? Because I know you were obviously making more than that.
I was on an apprentice salary, so it was like, I think it was like £18,000 a year or something.
Okay, but you still had the Yves Saint Laurent handbag in every video at the time, because I remember, because this is when I started initially following you. So you had the YSL bag, which I loved. That was my first bag as well.
I bought that after I'd done a couple of collabs, so I obviously had some extra money. I wouldn't have been able to buy that on my apprentice salary, but I was also like working in Amazon warehouse, doing babysitting and doing loads of other jobs, so I was never
But you didn't make that clear on your TikTok. So we had this conversation actually in another pod, that there's this unrealistic expectation on social media about upkeeping a certain lifestyle and trying to have that. I suppose you're already at a point where you're not earning massive amount of money from social media back when you're doing the apprenticeship. Like this is all new.
I saw that as an investment.
Yeah.
Because I was like, if I buy this handbag, it's going to elevate my content and I'm going to get more brand deals. So although I shouldn't have been buying a handbag that much when I was 19 years old, I just knew it would like play out well.
And it was the best investment
and it was,
at the time.
Because everyone recognised me for that handbag.
Yeah.
And it was just a plain bag. Like people didn't even know it was YSL, but it was like my thing. And then I got the matching cup and I had a black notebook and I had my Odd Muse blazer on, and it was just like the Isobel Lorna corporate uniform. But yeah, that was my first big job I got, and I was filming it in the bathroom, like this £6,000-7,000 video. And I was like, why am I filming a video in my lunch break for this much money when I'm earning like £1,200 a month? It doesn't make sense. But I was already aware that if I quit my 9 to 5 and I lost that corporate girly vibe, what was I going to do? Just be an influencer? And I could just already foresee that surely is going to just downfall for me. So I started thinking, how am I going to pivot this? Because it's not a good business model doing these videos but having to come to work every day. It's not sustainable. So I actually went to buy another handbag, which again I probably shouldn't have bought because I wasn't earning enough money. But I went to Celia Knightsbridge to buy a vintage Chanel classic flap. And this was the time when everyone wanted a vintage Chanel classic flap. They were so hard to get hold of. And I messaged Celia and I said, hey, I want this handbag. I'll make a TikTok for you and can I have a discount? Of negotiation.
How many followers do you have at this point?
I think I had like 400-500, maybe 600 on TikTok.
She means 1,000, not not 500 followers.
On Instagram I didn't have as many. I was just doing TikTok really at the time. And they said, yeah, we've got one for you, you can have a discount. So I went in with my little outfit on, ready to film my video, ready to film my Chanel bag, like biggest day of my life. And I went in there and Ayaz was in there, who's one of the co-founders of Celia. And he was like, oh my God, it's so cool. You're doing TikTok, you're doing this. We don't have a TikTok account. And he was like, what are you going to do when you finish your apprenticeship? And I was, I'm going to start a marketing agency. That's like my dream. I want to have a marketing agency. And he just said, why don't you just do that now? And I was like, oh, but I need to get my degree first. And he was like, but you're already good at making TikTok, so why do you need a degree? And I was like, oh yeah, that doesn't make sense. But I was like, I need to finish it because I've started. Anyway, 2 weeks later, someone else asked me to run their TikTok and I just quit. I went in and I said, I quit. I'm going to drop out of my degree and I'm going to do TikTok. And they were like, what? And I was like, yeah, I just know I need to do it.
So that decision was over the course of a week?
2 weeks.
Okay, so do you feel like you needed to act fairly impulsively to be able to do that?
I would
if you
say
deep
I'm quite
it, then
an impulsive person though, so if I want to do something, I'll do it. And if I don't do it, I know that it wasn't meant to be because I don't care to do it.
Yeah, you leave the job in corporate. What does the next few months look like of starting?
When I launched the marketing agency, I started getting clients in London, but I was living in Bristol. So I was getting the train up and down all the time. And actually, I don't think I've ever told anyone this before, but when I first started making money from influencing, I remember I said to myself, I think I wrote it down somewhere, my goal was that I'd be able to afford to get the train, not the bus, to London. That was like my only goal because I couldn't see how it was going to get me any further than that. I didn't see any like bigger figures. I didn't really know they existed. So I just wanted to be able to afford to get the train to London and not have to get on the mega bus. It's like £4 for a ticket. So I was going up and down to London on the train because I can now afford to get the train because I had clients. And then I started staying at my godparents' house in Chingford. So they let me stay there for like 4 or 5 days at a time. Then I'd go back to Bristol. But I was still having to go from Bristol to Chingford, in and out of London. But I just really wanted to do it. I knew if I was with the clients, they'd refer me to their friends. I'd get more.
And how old are you at this point?
21.
Okay, perfect.
I think I started with like 3 or 4 clients. I had Celia Knightsbridge, Jane and Tash, who are now de Savary, who's jacket I'm wearing.
That jacket is stunning.
It's cute, isn't it? Odd Muse were one of my first clients. I can't remember the others. So I kind of had like a good array of a couple of clients, and they were on retainers of like a couple of £1,000s a month each. But I was doing a lot for them. Like I was basically an in-house social media girl that was working.
And you were independent, so you had no staff at this point
No staff at this point. I eventually got to the stage where I was able to move to London, but me being me, who goes 2 steps further than they should be going all the time, I decided to get a brand spanking fucking new modern apartment in Battersea Power Station for £4,000 a month instead of a house share like all the other girls my age were doing in like the outskirts of London for like £600 a month.
I suppose that brings us back to when I said about how you were kind of doing this apprenticeship on £18,000 a year, still had the YSL bag. It's pressure.
Manifesting.
Yeah, but okay, it's manifesting, but there's also an element of pressure that you feel like...
Because then I knew I had to work hard enough to pay the rent. I'd signed a 2-year contract on this lease that was extortionate, and I was like, I need to make enough money to pay the rent because my parents aren't going to pay for it if I phone them up. They're going to tell me to get stuffed. So I need to make enough money, and it almost is like, feels like there's hands behind you pushing you. So I feel like I always try and put myself in those situations where I'm actually forced to do more as opposed to being reliant on myself.
Let's also talk age here, because you are relatively young. You've made the massive step up to move to London. You're running this agency. You're also running your TikTok and monetizing off that slightly at this point as well. Do you feel like there was an element of not being taken seriously? Because I know when I started at such a young age on the agency side, I didn't want anyone to know that I was like younger or anything like that. I had to really amplify my actual age because I was like, oh my God, what if they don't take me seriously?
So I think because I'd had that corporate start when I was 18, it kind of equipped me for things that a normal 21-year-old wouldn't have. So when I started at Burgess Salmon, which was an amazing place to have a first job, by the way, I had a 2-week induction. They taught me how to answer an email, answer the phone. They taught me how to walk into a meeting room. So when you walk
how do you teach someone how to answer the phone?
You sit there,
or as in like how to
tell you how to answer the phone. So we had like proper training on how to be professional, because you can't just get a load of 18-year-olds into a law firm and expect them how to behave. So we actually had like, it was almost like behavioural training to be professional, which was silly at the time, but in hindsight it's helped me so much. So I think that kind of gave me a bit of a leg up to what a normal 21-year-old wouldn't have had. And also because I skipped the university experience, I was automatically like 3 years older. So in my head, I'm nearer 30. That doesn't make any sense. But because I feel like I skipped a stage of my life, which I don't regret at all, I feel like I'm further on than a normal 21-year-old. But going back to your question, I did find that naturally I only really worked with women, not men. We've only really started working with men more recently, and that's
why was that?
I think just because every man I spoke to didn't take me seriously, but when I spoke to a woman, they did take me seriously.
Okay.
Maybe that's because I was young, but actually the woman saw the young, hunger, eager attitude in me, whereas I think the man just didn't get it. So naturally I would just always sway towards working with women. Now I work with both man and woman. Maybe I kind of covered up the age thing by not really exposing myself to it.
So that wasn't like a strategic decision?
Naturally, I just did it.
And then I suppose going back to the agency side as well, before we delve into influencing, do you feel like that was hard to scale up? Because I suppose it's not like you've come from a marketing agency that you've built. Like the agency you worked for in corporate was obviously it wasn't relevant to building that agency side.
I think when I started it, I only had one employee at a time until recently. So it was only me and one other person for a long time, but I purposely did that because I didn't want to run before I could walk. So I knew I had to learn how to actually operate an agency with multiple clients and multiple workloads before I then hired other people. So I've been running Voir Social for 3 years now, and only 2 months ago I hired 2 more employees full time. So now we've got 3 employees full time, but for the first time ever it's only, other than that, been 1. And that for me was because actually now I know everything so well, I can actually delegate to other people. You can't just hire people and expect them to do a job when you can't properly explain to them how to do it. It doesn't work. I always had a mindset of I'm not going to run before I can walk. But that was obviously because I had money coming in from my influencing as well. So I wasn't actually relying on the income from the agency.
So let's now talk about the influencing side, because you're building this agency, albeit at a gradual pace, which worked for you, but also while rapidly growing your social media platform. So talk me through that, because balancing the two isn't easy. It's not like balancing one business is tough and has its challenges. So building your online platforms as a personal brand helped you amplify Voir Social.
So I actually think it was the other way around. I think I kind of dibble-dabbled between doing more agency work and doing more influencing work. I had a bit of a stagnant stage between leaving my corporate job and I'd say until about 2 years ago. So it was like a year where I didn't really know what I was posting. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have anyone to guide me. And I actually lost my TikTok account account as well. Can you remember that?
No, not with us.
Not with you, no, but I lost
I was going to say, we can get that back straight away.
I lost my account for 4 months, and
wow.
I kind of almost like disregarded it, and I think it's because I'd honed in so much on the agency. No one would help me. I just didn't know how to get this account back. I had like 800,000 followers. I lost it for 4 months. I wrote on LinkedIn every single day.
I feel like I recall you telling me this situation, but
I put a £10,000 reward out if you help me got it back. Sam Royale actually got it back for me, some random guy. And it just, I didn't have anyone to help me get it back. So that kind of put me off doing the influencing thing. Then I picked it back up. So I'm doing all the agency stuff in the meantime. How do I manage doing both? I don't know. I'm nuts. I don't sleep very much. I like working. I'm always working. I just don't have any time off. That's how I balance it. There's no balance.
You signed for a management. When did you decide that was the right? Not us, but when did you sign?
I've actually had 3 managements now. The first one was a random Chinese agency that I signed a contract for when I was on like 200k. Do not ask me how I managed to do that. It was a nightmare.
So how long did you tie in for that?
Oh, I don't know, 10 years or something. But obviously I managed to get out of the contract. It was ridiculous. I don't know why I signed it.
Okay.
And then the next agency
helped me get out of
that one. Yeah. They helped me get out of it. But they just weren't the right fit for me. And I don't think they saw the vision that I had with Isobel Lorna, who's only really recently fully developed over the past 2 years, I'd say.
Yeah.
They wanted me to be more of a personality creator. And I wouldn't really put myself down as a personality creator. I'd put myself down as a lifestyle beauty with a bit of humour creator. Yeah. We just had different visions. They were great. They were lovely. They've got great talent, but they weren't for me. I wanted to give them a chance because I believe that everyone deserves to have a chance, that you can't just pick people up and drop them again. I'm quite a loyal person. So I'd signed with them, and then you kept asking me, what are you doing? How's it going? And you could obviously see I wasn't doing any ads because I wasn't getting any ads.
Yeah.
And then I finally agreed to have a phone call with you because I was like, right, I've given this other agency 6 months, so I feel like I've been fair. I'll speak to Claudia. She seems nice. She's got a lot of good talent. And I remember I had a phone call with you, and I was actually sunbathing. Well, I was like walking around in my bikini. It was like the height of summer.
Oh, I'll have a call with her. Sod it.
Yeah. I was like,
nice of you to take it seriously.
You said to me, you were like, how many deals have you done this year? And I was like, oh, I think I've done like 2. And you were like, what? And I was like, yeah, I think I've done 2 deals. And you were like, what do you mean you've done 2 deals? You should have done like 50. And I was like, what? And
because when I'm trying to think at what level, honestly, my memory is like Dory from Finding Nemo, but I'm trying to think at what level we signed.
I think I was on like 700-800k.
Okay, so 700-800k, but the quality of your content and stuff like that was essentially mastered. You had a really engaged audience.
Yeah, and I was getting viral videos consistently. Yeah. Engagement on my non-viral videos.
Because anyone can have 800,000 followers now. But whether that translates to the audience is a completely different story. But your engagement was genuinely really solid.
And I just remember coming off this phone call, and I was like, my mum was with me at the time, and I was like, I've just spoken to this lady called Claudia, and she said I should be earning £50,000 a month. My mum was like, what? She was like, you need to sign with them. They sound amazing. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. I think really I just had no idea that influencing is essentially a business. And if you're not surrounded by the right people that are telling you what you should and shouldn't be doing and putting you forward for stuff, your business isn't operating. Otherwise, you're just posting for what? For fun? For vanity? Like, what are you posting for if you're not actually nurturing any partnerships and building a career from it? What's the point?
For sure. And I mean, would you say it was overnight? Like, how was that transition going from your last agency over to us?
I can't remember. And what I said to you the other day is like, people will message me and say, oh, you're with a blog agent. Do you like them? And I'm like, do I like them? They're in my Instagram bio. Can you not see the work I'm doing? Like, of course I bloody like them. Otherwise I wouldn't be with them. Like, what kind of question is that?
Yeah.
I can't even remember there being a transition. I just remember that all of a sudden I was getting job. And these figures were just going up. And I was like, hold on. This influencing is making me so much more money than my agency. I need to focus on this for a little bit, which is what I did. I kind of chopped and changed until I actually had enough money to have someone full-time working on Voir Social so I could help them, but I also had time to do my own work. And now I've completely separated Isobel Lorna and Voir Social. I have a PA just for Isobel Lorna, and I have 2 girls working on Voir Social, and I'm very much involved in both, but I have to be on the Isobel Lorna side because I'm Isobel Lorna and no one else can do my work for me.
Yeah.
You know, I can't have people edit my videos. I edit all of my own videos. I do all of my own scripts. I do everything myself because I'm so particular. I can only have someone to help me, whereas Voir Social work, I can and I do train other people to be able to do it. So I can't keep spreading my myself thin. I need to focus on what's actually growing my career, which is my Isobel Lorna, my influencing.
You're like me, you're a control freak, right? Fair? Have you struggled giving up that element of like just having to trust, I suppose? Because it's the same with me. It took me a good few years, 2 or 3 years to get any staff, because I was like, I know the way I do it and I manage talent. How am I going to replicate that? Like, no one is going to do it like me. Like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? But I suppose with the right training, they do. But convincing yourself of that is a whole different story.
And I still do it now. So even though I don't really speak to Voir social clients on a daily basis and I don't go to the shoots anymore, I'm the person that onboards the client. I come up with the creatives. I'll send the girls off to film the content. They'll edit it. I've taught them how to edit everything down to a T, exactly how I would. But then I always still have the final say. So we use WhatsApp for everything, and they'll just send me all the drafts for our clients. And I'll literally go, change this, basically change half the video. But it still has my touch on it. And that's what does well, is what I've learned, is that I need to be at the start of the process and the end of the process. And I've got to train everyone else to do the interim that actually anyone can do. You just need to find the right people and give them enough guidance and nurturing.
And I suppose that's relevant in influencing too, because having the right team around you is so important. And even equally, it's so important that you're also on form, like, and that we have great creators, because that's such a reflection on whether the brands, like, I would say that a huge chunk now of business is through our connections, rather than back in the day, throw it back 10 years, majority of jobs came inbound through the creator's email. Like, it wasn't really through outreach and stuff, because how do you find that contact when you first start? Like, you rely on that talent's emails. And I'll be completely transparent about that. Like, the first, I'd say 1 to 2 years was relying on that. Whereas now, fast forward a decade in, 80% of the jobs our creators get are because of the relationships we've built. Because now it's got to a point where the staff in the office have to maintain and build their own certain relationships and stuff like that. And I suppose you see that through, hopefully, your manager, that they've been trained in the right way.
But also, I think, obviously, I work with Orla, the blogger agent, who's my amazing manager, who I literally love to bits. She's fantastic. But she has learned how to work with me, and I've learned how to work with her. Normal talent perhaps have more time in the day because they're just doing influencing, whereas I don't. So Orla will never say to me, can I have this by 5? She'll just say, can I have it today? Because she knows she will get it, but it might just be at 11 p.m. as opposed to 5 p.m. So she WhatsApps me first thing, and then we'll WhatsApp all day. We don't call because that just takes up too much time. So we're just back and forth on WhatsApp all the time, all day. As soon as something comes through, she WhatsApps me, I WhatsApp her straight back. And that's like our best way to work together, which we've just learned how to do. And that'll be different for every creator, but you need to have a manager that understands how you're going to work best and that's not going to push you into a direction that you can't do.
And understands, I guess, essentially that vision, because I feel like from where we signed you from day one looks very different to the landscape of your profile today's date.
Yeah. When I first signed my blogger agent, I knew what I was doing with my content, but I didn't really have myself as I am now. So I feel like Isobel Lorna, who I speak about in third person, is me.
It's like the GC, like Gemma Collins when she does the GC.
I speak about her in third person because she is like an elaborated version of me. So she's still me, but she's times 100 on steroids. She's ridiculous. She's confident. She's got a bit of humour and sass. She doesn't care what anyone thinks, which is me, but it's like dialed up by 100.
Because I think it's fair to say there's always been a bit of a misconception about you, right?
Yeah.
Like, I've seen stories on, I mean, you've messaged me at times where they're like, how do we clarify that people know that I'm literally not a prostitute?
Yeah, literally.
Because you've had so many different stories come out where people are like, well, she doesn't earn that from being a creator. So she's definitely selling herself.
That's one of the problems with influencing, is that because it's unknown what people earn, I can see why people might just look at my profile and think, oh, she's an escort, because how do I get all the money to buy stuff? But realistically, I know I have a lot of amazing things that not a lot of 24-year-olds have, but having one Birkin and a rented flat in London, if I was a prostitute, I'd have a lot more. I'd have 3 Porsches, 3 Mini Kellys, 10 Birkins, a 911, a Range Rover. I'd have it all. I don't have that, but I can see how, if you're consistently seeing me on your feed, because I'm constantly going viral, that why you think I've got loads and loads of stuff. But I think it's just to the eye. You're not looking.
But that is what has given you that platform. Okay, so you're personally Isobel McDonald.
Yeah.
Isobel Lorna is the brand.
Lorna's my middle name. People always get confused. Isobel Lorna McDonald.
Do you find it tough upkeeping the look of having it all put together, because it's not realistic? I mean, you voice noted me so many times stressed about XYZ that people don't see, and I suppose just having that insight into behind the scenes of creators, okay, hopefully a lot of the time are genuinely in a great place, but at times it can be such a challenge and it's not all pretty.
So I think the reason I've elevated Isobel Lorna to be like a third person is so that I can step into her and work. So it's like acting. I see it as like I'm literally acting, but I'm being myself. So it's easy for me to show up looking polished and perfect with my makeup on and my hair done and my outfit on, because I only do that at certain times of the week. So I just had a wardrobe made in my room, which is like goes across the whole wall, but one corner of it is for Isobel Lorna and the rest is for Isobel McDonald.
Yeah.
Because that's got the open space for me to film my content in, but it's also got all the clothes that I wear for my filming and to events and stuff like this. The other end of the wardrobe is like my tracksuits, my jeans, my ski clothes, like not my work clothes. I feel like I'm acting and I step into Isobel Lorna's shoes.
And you feel like that's helped you, I suppose, cope mentally in this pressure?
I think so. And people always say to me, how do you produce so much content? How do you film so much? How do you post so much? I film stuff all the time and I don't like how I look or I don't like how it turns out. And I think the best tip for creators, or if you want to post more content, that I've always told myself is that you have to remove vanity from influencing. Influencing shouldn't be like a vanity product where you're worried about how you look or you don't like your outfit. If I have to film an ad on a day, or if I have to film 3 videos and I don't like how I look, I have to film because there's no other time to do it. So you have to almost remove yourself from it and just see it as a job and a role instead of something personal. But I guess you could say that for any job, like you have to remove the personal element from it. But I would say that's definitely helped me cope with getting hate comments online and people writing negative things about me, because I'm like, well, that's not me all the time, that's just part of me, so it doesn't feel as personal.
How's the reaction been from, I suppose, family and stuff on the whole creator side?
So my mum and dad really get it.
Yeah.
Like, they fully understand how it works, why I do it. They encouraged me to start, actually. They were happy with me leaving the job and quitting my degree. I would say that I think I've got one friend from like my old life that I still have. I don't really...
Why do you think that is? Was that a personal choice, or do you think there was a lot of jealousy?
I think it was just too much change and perhaps jealousy, and the fact that I was doing all these amazing things and obviously earning more money, but what I didn't like is that I was still me. So going from literally being a girl in Bristol to moving to London and having 1 million followers, there's not really many people that are going to stick around and be happy for you, unfortunately, whilst you're doing that.
So what did you experience with friendships when you noticed that rapid growth?
I think maybe they only really saw what I was getting and they didn't see who I still was. So probably the jealousy element, which I didn't understand, because I was like, well, I'm still me and I'm still going to go clubbing with you to the club we go to every weekend. It just means that I might be able to buy everyone a drink. So that never really made sense to me. But I think when you're 19 and you've got these female friendships, there is just unfortunately a lot of jealousy involved. I say now all the time, I don't want to sound like a pick-me, but I could just never be jealous of my friends. I love having friends.
No, I completely agree.
I love having friends that are doing so well. Like, I'm so proud of them, and it's like so cool that I have now all these amazing friends that are doing so well. I just think they're cool. I don't think, oh, you've got a bigger business than me or you earn more money than me. Most of them do, but I just see them as cool. I don't... It's not a jealousy thing. So I think maybe that is just something that comes with age, and unfortunately my life changed a lot when I was essentially a teenager, like from 19 to 21.
I mean, friendships, relationships, all of that is so important. If you want to elevate in life and you have this jealousy surrounding you, that probably would have actually impacted where you are today if you still have that evil eye in your life.
And I did have one of my past relationships didn't really work out because him and everyone around him just didn't get the role that influencing was a job. They just didn't get it. And I do look back and think, if I'd have stayed in that relationship and thank God I didn't. Would I be sat here today doing as well as I am? I don't think I would have been, because I was constantly surrounded by people that were making me feel like I was an idiot and that my job wasn't a job and that I wasn't good enough.
I think, I mean, it's definitely becoming more understood, I think, fast forward to now, but especially when I started 2015, people didn't realise it was actually a really lucrative job.
And I do hear, when people ask me what my job is, I'll kind of judge their character first, but I'll always, most of the time, say I'm an influencer, just straight off the bat, because I like seeing.
But you didn't
reactions.
go into the job expecting all of the pretty things and expecting loads of money.
No,
you went in because you had a true passion.
I wanted to be able to get the train to London.
Exactly, but that is so, I cannot reiterate how important that is.
Yeah.
Whenever I come across a creator that is, you say like, where's your goal in, like, what is your goal in 5 years, for example? Like, let's think of a strategic plan of how we get you there in 5 years. If their number one goal is money, which I know everyone's goal is to make this a business, I completely understand that is a motivation 100%. But if that is your sole purpose of why you're going into it, I very rarely see that reflected into any, not any success, because obviously you're going to get someone that works out for. But if money is the only motivation from day one,
it doesn't work.
And you don't truly love the creative elements and the business side of it, then are you going to get that far?
I just liked making the videos, and I just wanted to show other girls that you didn't have to go to uni to have a successful career. And I didn't go to uni. I never got my degree on the apprenticeship, and I still have a career. You don't need to go. This is just more proof, like consistently, that you don't need to do it. But that was literally my only goal, was to help other young girls and to be able to get the train to London instead of the megabus.
I mean, reverting back to, I suppose, management, because you are business side and talent side. So actually the pressure's on for us a little bit more with you, probably, because I mean, how do you view it from both angles?
I see it as, I was explaining to a brand actually the other day, I find that having a marketing agency really helps my influencing, because most of the jobs that we get, I come up with my own creative brief. So it makes my content unique, and normally it performs better because it's my idea. Whereas some creators, they're amazing at producing content, but they're not good at coming up with creatives and ideas. So I feel like it gives me an edge over other people, purely based on the fact that I've got a marketing creative brain, and actually I've learned really well how to sell a product, and also the psychology that comes behind it. Like, I wear certain colours in my ads because I know the content will perform better and I'll sell more products.
You do have to extract certain pieces of data though to like analyse that.
Yeah.
Like, if a certain ad has performed terribly for you and affects your engagement, I very much doubt Orla is going to go and present a whole deck to them about why they should work with you again, because actually working with you again, you might get a good fee, but it's going to have a negative impact on you as a talent.
And that's like the thing I struggle with the most in influencing is when my content doesn't perform. I take it so personally, because I can't stand looking at a video on my TikTok that has less than 100,000 views and 10,000 likes. That for me is like a benchmark that I should always be hitting. And if I have an ad that doesn't perform, which luckily I rarely actually do have that, because I spend so much time and effort into the ads, and I get complimented all the time saying I don't even realise you're doing ads because it's so authentic to your natural content, which is the goal. Yeah. I take it really personally, and that's what I find the hardest, is that sometimes you can't control the algorithm, and you can do as much as you can, but that's what I find hard, is that when it doesn't, I can do all this planning and I can map everything out, but if sometimes
that's the same in every industry though.
Yeah, like you can do any piece of work and it doesn't quite
exactly. I think trying to anticipate a 100% success rate in anything is just completely unrealistic.
But that is, I think, I remember I texted Orla the other day, like, oh, this didn't do very well, and she was like, Isobel, but you've done 9 other videos for them and they've all done amazingly well, so stop worrying.
And also that's only your version of not doing well. Yeah. Like, to the brand, that could have performed so well for them. Like, that's in your head.
Because you only get 5,000 likes doesn't mean you haven't sold 500 products. You could get 50,000 likes and sell 5 products, or you
which I've seen plenty of times.
Or you can get 5,000 likes and sell 5 million products.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But yeah, I get the idea. Again, it's a little bit different because you had management pre coming over to us, but I suppose, what were your expectations of management and the business side of being a talent versus what it actually is and has been?
So I think people think having a manager is just someone that turns up and like waves their finger and kind of,
nice.
you know, like Katie Price on these old videos of her manager. But it's not. It's kind of like a simultaneous relationship where you're working with each other. They're essentially taking care of every element.
I think people have a misconception that it's just email ping pong.
Yeah.
But actually, there is so much more that goes into it. But sometimes, again, I probably shouldn't say this, but sometimes I feel like, does that creator understand what's actually gone into that?
Obviously, depending on the creator, there might be a little bit of back and forth, but I know there's normally like multiple calls, multiple email chains, WhatsApps going on just to get one video across the line. And I won't know about any of that because Orla's dealing with it all for me.
Yeah.
And she's just giving me the key information. I know that some people choose to like be very involved in what's going on with their manager. I personally am happy for you guys to manage everything and you just give me the key information that I need to know. Sometimes you don't need to know every single thing that's going on. Some people like to, I don't. But I think that's maybe comes from that I have a big trust of you guys because I know that you're doing a good job. So I don't need to be on every single email chain. I don't need to be on every single call. I just trust you to get on with it, which you always do. And I actually can't think of one bad thing that's ever happened at the blogger agent. Maybe they have and I don't know, but nothing's ever gone wrong for me.
But the thing is, I think, I mean, again, it's completely unrealistic that nothing in the whole wide world goes wrong ever.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, everything has been 100% smooth sailing at all times, but it's so important.
But I know for a fact that if something did go wrong,
you wouldn't have to know
about it unless I really had to know about it.
Yeah, and it is rare. It's rare that things go pear-shaped. We're really fortunate that we've got such strong relationships with both your side and the brand side that it is just maintained in a really nice and efficient way. But if things go wrong, we don't want to pile that. That's not for you to know. It's irrelevant.
No, but I think another thing that sometimes I meet people and they're like, oh, why would I have a manager though? I have to give them 20% of my fee. And I'm like, okay, you're not doing any of the comms. You're not doing any of the contracts, which is a very important part of influencing that you guys deal with all of. I just get the contract at the end and sign it. So if a deal goes wrong, say I've signed a massive deal, I've done all the deliverables, and it all goes wrong and I don't get paid any money and I don't have a manager, I then have to deal with all the legal fees and all the back and forth and all the time myself. But because we've got a legal team at Blogger Agent, I would never have to think about that. So you can be tight about giving away 20%, or maybe once every 3 years you might have to have some fat legal battle, and then actually you should have just given away 20%.
I think it reverts back as well to whether you're with a management that have those connections or not as well, because if we're bringing you like 80% of our own inbound inquiries, not from you as a creator, then actually you're earning way more, even once that 20% has been factored in.
You're earning more anyway.
Because firstly you're earning more anyway because we're negotiating way better fees most of the time. Some people are great negotiators and that's good. But if we're utilising our relationships and our connections to bring you those jobs, and you're getting 10 jobs a month because of our relationships rather than 2 a month yourself, then even with that 20%, you're earning so much more than...
For me, it's a no-brainer having a good management. And I think when I meet people that say that, I almost think you're obviously in it for the wrong reason if you don't want to give away 20% and you can't see any further.
But 20% of nothing, this is what I've had conversations with before, 20% of nothing is nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we want to present you more opportunities than what you're doing yourself, so that it's business.
And I've had the same recently. Someone said to me, don't get a financial advisor because they take 1.5%, whatever, of what they make you. And I'm like, of what they make me, which I was not going to be making if they hadn't been helping me. So why not give them a percentage?
Yeah.
They've helped you. Like, they've got you more money than you were going to have anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
That's how I see it. It's like give to get. And I think give to get is relevant across influencing in general, because, you know, even things like I did a video for a brand the other day for nothing because I like them, and then I got a job booked a week later by them. So it just goes, that's the thing with influencing, is that you have to give some to take, and you have to give.
And I think it's important to note as well, like, I know way back when, like 20 minutes ago, you said about how it's job. But I think it's also worth touching on, you're very particular with the jobs you do say yes and you say no to. Like, one yes for a job, you might have rejected 20 jobs.
Yeah. And so I actually also know that some things I don't even see because I'm going to say no anyway.
So many things. Like, imagine, again, this reverts back to wasting your time and coming to you with problems.
Yeah, I don't want to know.
Like, why are we... No, and again, comes back down to, if a job you love offers 10% of your fee, we will still let you know that that brand has come forward because we know you love them. If a lawnmower brand comes forward and offers you we know that's not right for you, and we know that's not going to do you any favors. That's going to lose respect of your audience. It's going to have such a negative impact as a bigger picture.
So
why do we waste your time?
To not even see that either, because then you're thinking, oh, I've lost 50k that I could have got, or I've lost 70k that I could have got, when actually I shouldn't be doing it anyway. So it's better.
If they offered you 70k for the lawnmower,
I'd do it.
Would you do that?
Yeah, just get on it with like a
We're going to have Orla on B&Q Outreach now.
I'd get on the lawnmower with my Birkin.
You're such a versatile talent though.
Yeah.
There's a lot more flexibility with what can be pitched for you because of being a lifestyle creator, I suppose. When you're in one niche, like we obviously heavily represent quite a lot of beauty talent, and I suppose that limits you to beauty content. If we start doing a lawnmower ad for one of our talent that is so heavily makeup, it wouldn't make any sense. Like it wouldn't align. But to be honest, if a lawnmower ad came in, you probably could make it work.
I'd probably do like a single guy.
Yeah, go on. You're creative.
Yeah,
I own a lawn mowing company, and I want to instruct via social, but I want Isobel Lorna also to do some content for me. You can have complete creative control.
Okay.
How do I market my lawnmowers? Because my daughter's telling me that I need to go into influencer marketing with it to sell my lawnmower, but I just don't know how. So I've heard that you are really good at this.
So I would probably, well, to start with, who's buying lawnmowers? Mainly men. But I have mainly female audience, 90%. So I need to sell a lawnmower to a woman, or make a woman make her husband buy a lawnmower. So I'd probably, how do I make a lawnmower attractive? Let's say I'm trying to make it attractive to a woman. If I was coming up with it for someone else, I'd say your husband likes everything to be well trimmed, and I'd like dress up to the nines with a cute little outfit on, sit on the lawnmower and just like prance around like doing my lipstick on it. Well trimmed, get it?
I get it.
Like down there?
Yeah.
I'd probably take that angle.
My boyfriend is going to hate that I'm discussing this, but there is actually a company that does that called Manscaped.
Is there?
And he was like, I really want one of them. And their whole marketing campaign
I didn't
is
even
like,
know that.
I think it is like the lawnmower. Or
That's
like
just the only thing I can think of, like with woman, trimming, cutting.
Yeah, that was really good on the spot though.
Thank you.
See, in my head, I'm thinking, oh, you could have like your red bottoms on, the grass is like over them. You don't want to dirty, I don't know, mine would be terrible.
Or the grass is really long and I need to get through, otherwise I'm going to ruin my shoes. So I quickly hop on the lawnmower, make a path, drive it back, and then walk over it, which would annoy everyone because they'd say, why didn't you just mow over and get off at the other end?
I think
I've made a runway.
if this doesn't create business
Being
for
you,
either you,
if you're listening, I'll promote your lawnmower. I don't have a garden.
I think this is a great way to get your lawnmower.
I don't have a garden to mow, but perhaps we can arrange a fee so that I can buy a house with a garden.
Sold. I honestly feel like I need to ring a manufacturing company today, start a lawn mowing company, instruct via social to do the marketing, have you as my face of the lawn mowing brand. It's a sellout.
For 30%.
I would have done 50. 10. That's great. You've just sold 10,000 lawnmowers.
Perfect.
But I think the moral of the story is you don't have to accept.
Yes.
It really defeated the whole object of what I was trying to make, because we just made the lawnmower.
But I think I'm an exception. So something I wouldn't accept that I know you'd never even offer to me would be like sex toys.
So true.
Like you couldn't pay me.
But it's interesting because you could make it work.
I could, but it's not something that I want.
But it's not on brand. No, agreed. And to be honest, again, we've got talent that would be absolutely perfect for Primark.
Yeah.
But again, it's a household name. Love working with them. But again, that's not something that we would present you because it's not on brand.
Yeah.
Like we need to keep in theme. And I think that is why you've got to where you're at now, because personally you are so comfortable in knowing what is right and what is wrong. On each pod we're doing a segment called Things I Bish I Knew. I just want you to roll it back to when you're like 16, and also maybe even more recently, things that you wish you could tell yourself.
How deep do you want to go?
Deep. Cry?
No, I'm not going to cry. Don't worry. I think I'd probably just tell her, although I've always been strong-minded and not caring about what other people think, it's like you actually shouldn't, because the people that you're worried about, what they think, aren't even going to be in your life in 3 years. So who cares? Do it more, do it better, and stop having that little voice in the back of your head that's telling you, oh, what about if they see it? What are they going to say about it? What are they going to think? Because I feel like I had that for like a good 3 years. Up until really only the past year, I would say I've fully gotten rid of all those people in my life that were kind of in the back of my head making comments. I couldn't really be myself around them and do what I wanted to do. So I think I'd probably just say, not even don't care about what other people think, because everyone says that, but don't care because realistically the people you're surrounding yourself with won't even be in your life in 3 years, which I think is normal for when you're growing up. You're not going to have the same people around you. And I saw a good podcast clip the other day. I don't know who it was talking. It's probably someone really well known. She was saying the people that get you to 10k in business aren't going to be the same people that get you to 100k.
Yeah.
And the people that get you to 100k aren't the same people that are going to get you to 1 million.
Are we not?
Yeah, you are.
We've been there.
You're consistent. You know, these people come and go, and I see it. I used to hang out with people in London that would, you know, get me into the right doors, and now we're not really close because we don't need to be. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's no really real reason, but I think it's just that.
I think it's also about differentiating who is just there to serve a purpose and who's like a genuine friend, because I'm not going to sit there and be like, the people I know now aren't going to be in my life in 3 years, because they will be.
Yeah.
But
and
then
I have friends like that now, but when I was younger,
yeah,
I didn't have any friends like that. Sometimes I'm doing stuff and I'm like, oh, I don't know. And then I'm like, oh my God, Isabel, just do it. Because every time I've just done, it always gets me somewhere. But it's when you don't do. I always regret not doing stuff. Never regret doing anything.
That's good. I like that.
It's like, leave the house, get out. Life's short by the bag.
Is that your motto?
I think that's in my bio now, yeah. Is that in my bio? Life's short by the bag.
So I think it's actually worth mentioning goals that you've ticked off. I suppose if we roll it right back to taking that leap of leaving the corporate job, like it has really worked out for you despite challenges along the way and all of that. Like it has fallen into place, and over the last, I suppose, few months, you've messaged me at times with major goals that you're like, oh my God, guess what happened today? Or like, guess what I bought today?
Sometimes I feel like you're the only person I can tell because we have like a personal relationship but also a business relationship. So it's something I wouldn't tell my boyfriend or one of my friends because it would almost be rubbing it in their face. I don't really
I think
because you know anyway, so
I think that's such a good thing actually to hone in on, which I know will put us back off on a tangent, but is that element of how do you celebrate your own success without feeling like you're showing off to friends that maybe haven't got to that level as of yet and are still on their own path?
I think it's very selective. Like there's maybe 3 people I talk to about money: my flatmate, 2 of my best friends, my mum, but I try not to freak her out because it freaks me out sometimes, like the figures. I say to people all the time, I'm just a girl from Bristol, so sometimes when I look at a fee I've earned or at my bank account, I'm like, oh my God, like.
But please always keep that. Like that's such a lovely trait to have. You know it's attainable, but it just still feels so like unrealistic when it's with you. Like I love that.
I sometimes tell my mum and I tell my flatmate, and I think you just have to know who to tell and know who's actually going to be happy for you, because some friends I know are really happy for me, but I know they're not doing the same, or they're maybe struggling with something, so it's not appropriate to like rub it in their face. Also, you don't want to keep it all to yourself because that feels weird. And sometimes you need to say it out loud,
and you want to be able to celebrate your successes as well, and have people in your life that are genuinely happy for that. So on some of the episodes we've done another segment that hones in on the surname, none of your bishness. People DM'd me when I first like announced the podcast questions. Some they've been relevant, some they've not, but I feel like this is actually quite relevant for you because I know you went through that stage. Someone called Demi has basically DM'd. I feel like people from my hometown are silently judging everything I post. Did you ever go through that phase of, oh my God, everyone's watching me?
Well, I would say to that, do you want to stay in your hometown? Because if you do, then worry, but if you don't, move and worry about other people.
That was easy. To wrap up, what is next for the agency and the Isobel Lorna brand?
So we're having a few changes at WAR Social, which I feel like will come out in the next few months. Just like slow business growth, handing some reins over type of thing. So that's fine. I think for Isobel Lorna, really want to see if I can do next year from my influencing. Obviously, I want to get my Porsche, which maybe I've already got, who knows? And a house and stuff, that's boring, who cares? And I said it the other day, but I just want to have maybe a little bit more flexibility to spend some more time with my family and friends. But that will come. Thanks for watching.
Thanks so much for listening to Business as Usual. If you enjoyed the episode, please make sure to follow, subscribe, and leave a rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts from. New episodes will be dropping every Monday, so until then, stay inspired and we'll get back down to business next week.